Hi guys, it's Orla and this is 40 Something Books, and today I'm doing my monthly recommendations video, which is a Goodreads group, and I will have the links below. Please check it out because there's loads of great videos on creepy reads for October. Now I have actually kind of got two books to recommend and a third/fourth book, and I'll explain in a minute. So the first book I have is Shirley Jackson's We've Always Lived in a Classic, and this is the Penguin edition of their modern classic publications that were out recently, and this is about Muricat is her name, Mary Catherine, and she lives with Constance, her sister, and her uncle Julian. Now the Blackwood family were well to do in their area, and they had a big house, almost like a fortress built, and it is about Muricat and Constance's relationship and Julian after Constance is acquitted of poisoning all of the family. And it's a really interesting book. It's a quirky kind of book, and I suppose in a sense it is creepy because of the fact that they're all slightly unhinged and maybe not living in reality. But it also sort of touches on the idea of how a person feels when they're ostracised by their local community and the way that the local people treat them and so on. And it is kind of like a black comedy because there are funny kind of bits in it. So it is kind of like a black comedy, but I really enjoyed this book, and I would definitely check out Penguin's Modern Classic. This one I would definitely recommend. I give it a 4 out of 5. It's noted as Shirley Jackson's best novel. And I really enjoyed it. The second book I have to recommend is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, and this is a beautifully creepy book in the sense that, I don't know if you can see, the front cover is in black and white, and it shows a young girl and she's floating above the ground. Lots of atmospheric photos in the book, they're all black and white, and this is, I suppose, a supernatural thriller. It's about Abe and his grandson Jacob. And Jacob lives in America, and he grows up listening to his grandfather Abe's really sort of out there stories about his childhood and about an island in Wales where he grew up after the war. He is Jewish, so we get the feeling that it's all about the Holocaust and World War II and that, but it isn't. This story centres around Miss Peregrine's home for peculiar children because they all have unusual supernatural kind of powers, and after the death of Abe, Jacob decides to investigate further. I don't really want to give too much away. I really enjoyed this. There are 3 books so far released in the series, and yes, it's very good. The third/fourth book that I would recommend would be You by Caroline Kepnes. Now I had slight hesitations about this book because it reminds me of John Foyle's The Collector, which I read years ago, and both books are written from the stalker's point of view. So the premise is that he doesn't see anything wrong with the way that he behaves. Now I preferred The Collector, but You by Caroline Kepnes is definitely a more modern take on the mind of a stalker and his feelings towards the person that he has set his eyes on, and his rationalisation for what he does in the book. There was 1 or 2 things I had little problems with. I thought some things were very conveniently written and maybe slightly unrealistic, and then there was other parts of the book that kind of really freaked me out because it is really how the mind of somebody who is totally self-absorbed and sees no wrong in what they are doing. So from that point of view, it's definitely creepy. Can I just say as well that You by Caroline Kepnes does have some sexual content and violence in it, so it definitely is an adult book, and I would give it 3.5 out of 5 stars at least. I'm almost tempted to read the sequel in the book to see how it goes on, but do you know, it was a difficult one for me to recommend because while I think parts of it are very well written and I can see why it got really good reviews, there were parts of it that I felt were just overdone a little bit, and I kind of struggled to finish it. So that was the only reason that I had sort of, ooh, will I, won't I? But if you like that kind of a creepy, thrillery type of book and you're not squeamish, then you check out the other reviews on the book and see if you'd like it. So that was my monthly recommendations, creepy books for October. Talk to you soon. Bye.